everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Well, we have two returning guests doing a two-part series, and tonight we are presenting part two. So if you missed part one, please go on YouTube, catch up. But right now, enjoy part two with our Hanna Somatics practitioners, Susan Koenig and Janet Hoagland. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you.
We have so much to talk about.
I know.
So let's jump right into
Okay.
it. Why don't you give a little recap of
Okay.
what we talked about as far as the mechanics of Hanna Somatics,
Okay.
what it is?
Well, Hanna Somatic Education teaches you how to release your chronically contracted muscles, which are responsible for postural distortion, for pain, for general stiffness, lack of coordination, and many other things that just aren't quite right in the body. So we teach you how to release those chronically contracted muscles, and we do it through teaching you slow, gentle movements. So it's really available to everybody, because everybody, or most people, can move parts of their body right away, and then they come to learn how to move the parts that have been harder for them to move.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about sensory amnesia.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of what happens
Right.
with trauma and,
Right.
you know, was it the term use it or lose it?
Right, and that's true.
Yeah.
Sensory motor amnesia is our jargon, and amnesia is a forgetting. So a sensory forgetting, a motor forgetting is, as you have chronically contracted muscles, you don't use a part of your body, maybe you don't use your shoulder as much, you stop raising your arm because it's painful, and you start forgetting that you can actually do that. And the brain is not receiving the sensory feedback it needs because you're not moving it. It's movement that creates the sensory feedback. And in order for the brain to know how to move, it needs the sensory feedback. So we are unraveling that sensory motor amnesia so that you begin to remember how to move and sense different parts of your body to release those chronically contracted muscles.
Now, is there a chemical release that goes along with this as well?
Well, certainly when you've had very tight muscles that have been locked up for a long time, there is a toxic buildup in and around the muscle and through the blood and lymphatic system, because it's the movement in the body that helps to dissipate the results of muscle metabolism.
Okay.
So as you release muscles, if they've been contracted for a very long time, you might feel some soreness or achiness, even with these slow, gentle movements for a day or two, but it dissipates as you move your body.
So when your muscles are in that state of contraction for a long time, and it can affect more than one part of your body, am I correct?
It actually affects the whole body in some way, because the brain does not organize a shoulder. It organizes the whole system in which the shoulder is embedded. So if your shoulder is the painful part, we tend to go to where we feel pain. We don't realize the consequences up and down the body.
Okay. So if you're holding on to these toxins, what does that do to your overall health?
Well, it's not just the toxins, but it's actually the holding of yourself still. Then you're not moving as much, and then when you walk, you're very stiff. Or you start feeling afraid because you realize you're not very stable, because you don't have the flexibility to flow through the walking gait. You start widening your stance, you start looking down all the time, which again completely distorts your posture, and you start holding on to things, and it sort of snowballs into something where you get more and more contracted. So it's muscular holding. It can be the hormones and endocrines play a role in everything we do, but they very much play a role. There's so much new research out. When you are holding yourself in a posture like this is a posture of stress, and you're going to get stress hormones to go through your body.
Oh,
when you release and when you're standing more correctly, you're going to get the hormones that make you feel good. So this is going to release a lot of cortisol, which is stress. And this is going to release testosterone, which is for everybody, not just men, and that makes you feel good. It makes you feel energetic. So, and that's just an example. There's a whole host of inner pharmacology within us that is always at work, depending on our mood, our posture, the condition of our emotional self, and all of those things. Yeah.
Are you guys getting this? This is amazing. So why don't you demonstrate just some movements so that the audience at home can see how simple and incredible this is, and they can do it along as
Right
well.
along with us.
Okay.
So I'm going to use Janet.
Okay.
So maybe I'm going to move up a little in my chair. Are you comfortable? Okay. So neck and shoulder pain, so prevalent, everybody at desks. So we're going to start over here on her left, down the back of her neck, but especially across the left shoulder. And so this is the muscle right here that we want to get. And so Janet's going to actually turn her head to the right, and she's going to tip her head back this way and raise her shoulder a little bit. Now this muscle is contracted, so it's telling the brain where we're focused, especially the motor cortex. Now slowly begin to release this muscle just until you're relaxed. And be sure you're breathing. And we already have a little bit more bounciness in the muscle. And let's repeat. Keep your face to the right. Is that comfortable for you? Just to comfort. Tip your head back. Raise your shoulder up. Recontracting that muscle. Recalling the tension in the motor cortex where we are. Now the slow, controlled release done with awareness is sending volleys of sensory information into the sensory cortex, informing the motor cortex of what you are doing and how you are doing it, and the motor cortex will reorganize you. We'll do it one more time. I like to do threes.
Okay.
Tip back, you're recontracting the muscle. Slowly release. And you're just releasing to relaxation. You're not pulling your shoulder down. And when your shoulder is down, check. Sometimes it can come down a little bit more without pulling. And now bring your head back to center. And give yourself a moment to sense the difference from side to side. Do you feel difference?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes your shoulder feels way, 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 way lower, but you definitely, you definitely start to feel differences. And that is an internal skill that grows with you. But it's so simple, but it's because we're earmarking certain movement in different parts of the brain. Different parts of the brain control movement differently. We are going right to the motor cortex because it is the motor cortex that maps every single skeletal muscle in the body, and it holds how much tension you are holding in that muscle. And this will reset and reduce the amount of tension you're holding in the muscle. So now you go to move your head, you go to work with your arms, and you're doing it with much more ease, less pain, more movement.
It's remarkable, and you've experienced it, and I'm sure that you get all kinds of feedback.
Right. And I've got a million of these, so we can do as many as you want.
Well, let's, before we move on to that, let's talk a little bit about, because this is such an uninvasive and such a simplistic routine to do, and teaching someone to help themselves.
Yes, that's the key.
Okay, so you're getting really amazing results for people who are coming to you as a last resort. Let's talk about that.
Right. Well, we get everybody. People that have been diagnosed with sciatica, that terrible lower back, down the leg pain, neck and shoulder pain, pain in all the different joints, low back pain.
They've had the surgery. They've gone through the physical therapies and the drug routines. So
whatever they've done.
Okay.
Or they maybe haven't had any surgery, but they're out there and they're doing their workouts and they start just feeling in so much pain. What's going on? So we take whatever comes our way.
Okay.
And sometimes we even get people with various neurological problems like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis or cerebral palsy. Maybe less, but some. Our motto, let's try and see what happens. It's so non-invasive, and you are using your brain to reorganize yourself. I'm just a teacher. I'm just a catalyst. You are doing it, and you are learning it, and the idea is now you have the tools, and you can start doing it on your own. Of course, it's nice to be in classes sometimes for the social support and all of that, but basically these are tools for you to take home and to do with your own self.
What kind of resistance are you getting from the medical community? How easy is it for you to get clients, or to, to have, to set up your own practice, so to speak?
Should I speak to that first? It's entrepreneurial at this point. If it's a doctor that has come, doctors that come to me go, oh my God, this is so great. But I don't know if my colleagues are going to believe me or trust this. So you get clients where you get clients. Word of mouth, YouTube, SoundCloud, classes. It's really still a word of mouth kind of situation. Articles in various magazines and newspapers, and that's how it's growing. And it's worldwide. It's small, but it's worldwide. We have somebody in Kazakhstan, we have somebody in Taiwan, we have somebody in Japan. We're talking about one person in these places, but over time, we've got quite a few people in Europe, quite a few people in Canada. We have various people in the United States, not every state. And of course, California is so large, so somebody could be in way northern California. They might not have access to an actual practitioner yet, but it's coming. And we have a person in Mexico. So it's going to grow as it grows and as people hear about it. And we get our trainings get bigger and bigger. More people are interested and want to know about it. And people come and get trained because they're going to put it in their life some way. They don't have to be a practitioner.
Yeah.
Maybe they want it for their family. Maybe they want it for themselves. Some of them want it to make a business out of it. And then it's how good you are at marketing yourself.
The reason I'd like to address this, the reason that you two are on the Paranormal Connection is because, like the paranormal, there are so many people out there that are non-believers in the power that we have within us.
Yes.
So in educating people that not only do they have the ability to see the beyond and to tap into their own
Internal healing process.
yes, their gifts, they have the ability to heal themselves. And this is probably the most there's nothing that I've seen that comes closer to the ability of healing yourself than Hanna Somatics.
It is spectacular.
It's giving what God gave you to, in putting it back in an organized state, as you put it.
Yes.
So it's just phenomenal. Janet, you've worked with a lot of people. What kind of success have you had with cases that were just kind of obscure?
I have had some very strange cases. A woman that had dystonia, focused dystonia.
What is dystonia?
Dystonia is a severance between the brain and the muscle, a particular muscles.
Okay.
Focal point dystonia is something that occurs with musicians, where all of a sudden their hand goes limp.
Oh, wow.
Totally limp, and they can't raise it up anymore.
Okay.
Drummers.
So lack of movement.
It's just total. One woman, in her work, her head would go this way as she'd talk, as we all talk. We're expressive and our bodies move. And all of a sudden her head went like that. And then she immediately brought it back up. She was standing in front of mirrors as she was talking. And she said to the client, wow, that was weird. Happened again 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks, I forget now, but fortunately the same client at the same time. It was very, very strange. And it happened again, only this time longer, and she needed a little bit more effort to bring it straight again. She said, did you see that? And the client said, yes. Didn't that happen last time? So she called her doctor, and her doctor was on vacation, and the nurse took the information, and she said, we'll get you in on his first day back, because that is worth checking out. If anything happens, call us. And she had her appointment set the very day before. She was working with somebody, and her head dropped, and she couldn't get it back up again.
Oh, my goodness.
18 years before she came to me.
Oh.
Wow.
18 years of suffering and pills and She had a handful of pills. Fortunately, 2 neurosurgeons saw her file. It passed their desk, and they took her on pro bono practically to work with her. And of course, they did a surgery to sever the nerves, the whole bundle. And so her problem after that was the nerves grow back, as nerves do. And so here she shows up at my door 20 years later. And I went, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? We didn't cover this in school. And did as much research as I could. So I always do an assessment with somebody the first time, and demos for them so that they can see how unintrusive the work is. And so I did that with her only because I wanted to get a feel for her, and I also wanted her to have some trust working with me.
Exactly.
And almost towards the end, she said something and she started laughing, and then she sounded like she was going into a little bit more exciting laughter, and I wondered what in the heck's going on, because now all of a sudden she's crying. And I'm thinking, oh God, did I hurt her? And so it was after that she pulled herself together a few seconds later, and she said, I can move my head.
Oh my gosh.
And she was doing this, and she was like riding a wild horse, and I was like, calm down, because she came in like this, right? And it was after that she could move her head. I was shocked. She was more shocked. And she was so very, very thankful. And I gave her homework. She came back for a few other sessions, and then her husband had encouraged her, or suggested to her to stop. I think he had a problem. He actually maybe didn't believe it either. So we did.
Seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing, but that was too good to be true, I think.
Right, yeah.
So he had her slow down. And so the last I heard, she was still doing good. We could have gone further. We certainly could have gone further in the sessions.
Yeah.
But that's just one example. I mean, there were others that, too long for the show to go into detail, but it was amazing.
And I'm sure you've got your success stories and your miracles as well.
Many. I mean, I remember one man came in with a huge swollen knee, and he was diagnosed with gout in the knee. And I don't remember how he heard about me, and I said, what can you lose? Come in and try. And, you know, when he described his knee, I thought, okay, it'd be a little swollen. I mean, it was this huge thing. It was kind of red. He came in Bermudas, which was great, so we could really see it. It was hot to the touch. And I said, okay, you know, do what you know how to do. Do an assessment. Based on that assessment, start doing the simple movements to address his various postural pattern. And that's what I did. And at the end of the session, and I could see the knee start going down. And the person's relaxed and they're following your verbal instructions. You're giving them some hand cues. Sometimes you're adding a little bit of load or resistance so they can feel something a little better. And at the end I said, okay, go ahead, sit off the end of the table. We use a massage table to work on. And he sat up and he looked down, and his knee was completely normal, and it wasn't hot. And we were both astounded. I mean, it's not like I didn't know what to expect. I just did the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there it was, and he goes, oh my God. And I went, oh my God, you know. But this happens a lot.
Yeah.
And the key is you do the work.
Yeah, you do the homework.
You do the work, and then you assign homework. But I mean, you do the work in the session just according to how you do it. You stay slow, you stay within a person's comfort zone, you just follow those tenets, and you see what the results are.
Right, because all we all are facilitators.
Yes.
We're the guides. And that's
Guides
it.
and teachers.
And that's it. And it's through the verbal. Large part of it's through the verbal, some touching. But to me, as I watch it follow through person after person, I'm just the guide. And there's something through the movement, in the process, where it sparks the body's own healing process. That's how I've experienced it myself. And the moves get easier, and it turns into a flow. And when they're done, I mean, like the woman that was moving her head after 20 years.
That's incredible.
Or just what she explained. Yeah. It's amazing as far as how it triggers the healing response in the body.
Well, you're getting everything to flow, and you're letting the body do its own natural work. And like you said, a lot of it's subconscious. You don't even realize it. So, and we don't know the depth of what we're capable of doing.
So we're switching brain levels. Most of what we do is subconscious, unconscious. And for the time you're doing the Hanna Somatics, you're switching to the upper level of the brain, the learning part of the brain. And you're in contact with that part of the brain that can unlearn old patterns, learn new patterns, and do them in such a way that you can the cortex can negotiate old patterns and improve them.
That's super.
So you're changing brain levels. It's kind of miraculous.
It is,
but
and the
it's
brain's
real.
so fast.
It's really not miraculous. It is real.
Right.
Well, we're almost out of time again. So you want to give your information?
Sure.
Okay.
So my email is susankoenig@earthlink.net. And you can look me up on YouTube, just my name, Susan Koenig. My professional business name is Somatics for you, but just put in my name. And I'm on SoundCloud. You can get audio recordings of some of my classes for free. And again, just put in my name, Susan Koenig.
And I mispronounced it.
Koenig, Koenig is fine. A lot of people, our family said Koenig, but I answer to Koenig as well.
Janet, how about you?
I'm local. I live here in the Sacramento region, and my email is Janet Hoagland, JanetHoagland @surewest.net. And I will be actually conducting a class through the Learning Exchange. So that'll be the September-October magazine that you can find me.
Great. Well, we need to give a little bit of information about the Paranormal Connection.
The Paranormal Connection airs the first and third Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Story Connection, airs the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. Watch these programs online at the same air times by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17. In the Sacramento region, you can see us on Comcast Channel 17 and on AT&T Channel 99. You can find previously aired shows on the Paranormal Connection YouTube channel. For information on upcoming shows and previous Paranormal Connection guests, go to paranormalconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at paranormalconnectiontv@gmail.com. And don't forget, find us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
I hate for this to end because there's so much more we could be talking about, but I do want to direct people to YouTube. Susan's got some fabulous YouTube clips up there going through the exercises.
Simple exercises.
Yes, and as Janet mentioned, she's local. Susan's in the Bay Area,
yes,
but Janet's local here, right here in Sacramento, and I personally had her as my practitioner, and I'll tell you, she gave me back my life. So I really encourage anybody out there who wants to get involved with this to not only help yourself, perhaps a parent. You know, this is fabulous for the elderly because you give them back this sense of mobility again, and they're able to do so much more. They're happier people. And it's just all around such a great thing. So I really, really hope that people do get more engaged with this process and take back their power because it's phenomenal.
It is.
Yeah. So, any parting words?
There's hope. You can move better, you can feel better, and you can love your life again.
Oh, I think that's great. How about you, Janet?
Regarding elderly or the maturing, let's say baby boomers, I would say this, that Hanna Somatics will allow one to mature or age with dignity.
Oh, very,
Nice.
very well put.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on the show. And I wish you the best of luck and hope that Hanna Somatics sort of, goes viral.
Yes.
Because it's a super, super, super thing to learn. And I would like to thank my wonderful crew for making this show happen. Greg and Lisa and Laura and Ted and Rick, thank you so much for coming out today and volunteering your time to get this information out to all of you watching. And with that, we're going to say good night.